kind of a very kind of last minute. Oh, good. Hi, Suzanne. I know this is really, really last minute, but things are so kind of hectic and a little crazy right now. So I just have to grab what free moments I've got and just sort of go for it. And whoever comes and sees this, it's a lot better when I'm able to give everyone, 24 hours and advance warning at least, or more than that, but I just can't seem to get it together to schedule that. So I'm glad to see whoever is able to make it, and I'm going to go ahead. I thought what I would do today is I have been playing around with my improvisational piece, and I started doing a buttonhole wheel. And I thought, I haven't done a video on how to do a buttonhole wheel, so I'll do a live stream on that. And because I want to add more to this piece anyway, that incorporates a whole sort of cluster of these buttonhole wheels. They're kind of cool looking. So I'm going to turn you around. Hi, Deborah. I'm going to turn everyone around and we'll get right to it. And if you have questions, to just start typing away. All right, so. Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Guess what you're doing? Okay, Sandy. Hi, Bernice. I'm going to guess that you are working on your making waves. Did I guess right? Wait, I'm sorry. Rotate device back. Okay. That's my guess. Okay. Yes. Oh, good. All right. So here we are. And I've got a cat screaming at me. So thank you, whoever gave me a thumbs up. That always helps me out. Those of you who are able to hit that thumbs up button. That's always helpful in my Google Analytics stuff. Here's Merlin coming in. And I'm just pulling my lights over so we can get a better look. And here, I'm going to show you this part I feel is still quite dark, and I'm going to lighten that up. But for today's demo, these are the buttonhole wheels right here, right? You can do them in any thread. You want to make sure that you want to make sure that stitching isn't pulling, and it is a little bit. Do you see how it's pulling right here? So I want to be careful on this next one that I do to not let that happen. So there are a couple ways you can do this. One, Delinda's here, just pulled through Starbucks. Do they still have pumpkin spice lattes? That's all I care about from Starbucks. I know some people hate them, but I think they're fabulous. Okay, so one way to do it is to use your circle template, right? The other way is to wing it. I'm going to show you both. I've got to pull this up just a little. Oh no, peppermint lattes. Oh my gosh, Delinda, I've never had a peppermint latte. I'm telling you right now. Okay, so I'm going to get my little chalk pencil. I'm going to get my template. What I like to do, as with anything, is I like to make sure that these are not all the same size. So I have some that are a little smaller, and then I've got this really big one. I also like to vary where my starting point is, right? So that they're not all going in the same direction, which I think is a whole different look. But since this is very much improvisational improvisational stitching, I really want this to express that kind of feel to it. So this, by the way, is one of those rings that I use for a Dorset button. This one and this one, but it's not a Dorset button. I just used the ring, wrapped it, attached it, and then filled the center with French knots on this one. And on this one, I just kept it empty. So that's another, by the way, an idea if you have those plastic rings. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really, do I want to do a really big one? Maybe I'll do yeah, I kind of do. I'm going to do a big one starting from about here. I'm going to make so it's going to kind of go from here to here kind of thing. And I'm going to have it go along this arc, sort of. Again, I'm going to use this. Well, first of all, I can barely see this. But I use these markings really as kind of a rough guide. I'm not going to, go crazy sticking to it. I'm going to use a 5-weight. This is my cotton. I've got my hand in the way. It's a size 5 cotton, right? And it's persimmon. This was given to me by Fiber on a Whim. And and it just so matches, it just happens to match this kind of fleshy background almost exactly. So I really like it. As I like to get these backgrounds using a color that kind of goes, it's in the same family, right? For the background. I like to also obviously mix it up. I did this. Hi Dixie, how are you? This is a Steph Francis thread, and I just love it. But I was really a little worried that it was going to be too much and too, but it's not. I kind of love what's happening here. Finally, right? I mean, you guys have, you've been witness to the struggle with this piece. Thank you. So I am going to pull this up a little bit. And I'm going to try to make sure I'm in my camera. I have it oriented in the opposite direction than I normally do. And now the orientation is locked. Once you kind of commit to that, you sort of have to stick with it. So it's messing with my, what I usually do, but I'm going to have to just figure it out. So this is kind of in the way, and I want this to go up. So I think it's going to have to do more like that. And I'm going to go back into where I came out. This is for my buttonhole wheel, right? So I'm going to go back where I first came out, my emerging thread. I'm going to go right up to where I want this first stitch to go. And I'm going to make sure that that thread wraps around. It should go in the right direction. So this is wrong. I have to make sure it goes like this. And what I'm going to get is I'm going to get this little loop. Hi, Lynn, you're not late. I just started doing, I'm just showing how to do a buttonhole wheel, which is what these are called. You're not late at all. So I had just come up, I kind of drew a chalk pencil and then realized that this was getting in the way. So I sort of just stuck my needle down and kind of, made another mark here. This is one way to do it. Another way is to just wing it. You don't have to mark it at all. You can totally just go by feel. But I thought I would show both ways. So I'm making sure that that thread is wrapping around. I think I'm actually doing this the right-handed way. This is feeling very awkward to me, in addition to the fact that my camera is oriented in the wrong, going the wrong way. So my focus, yeah, I'm totally doing this the right-handed way. Hi, Beverly. Oh, thank you, Beverly. She said, I love your work. You're so talented. Thank you. That's so nice of you. So as I said, I want to be sure that these stitches aren't going to pull my fabric. So if I see that this is happening when I pull on it, that means that it's a little bit too, it's too much. It's not, I'm not giving myself enough slack. So I've got to pull this out to ensure that that this isn't, and of course figuring out which one it is always tricky. So I want, and this is where I think a hoop probably would be quite helpful, because as you can see here, I've got this one, and then this one is sort of pulling a bit, and you want it to be pretty taut. And do you see how this is now pulling onto this one? So I really need to give myself a little more room there. And then I can come back, and I'm going to go back to center, and I'm going to go back out, and I'm creating this kind of fan shape. The marking can help. It also helps if you're using your going in the right direction for the dominant hand. I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm doing everything possible to make this really hard on myself, is basically what's happening here. Jesus, what a mess. Okay, so I gotta get myself oriented here. This is not the way it should be going. And typically this would be much easier. I may have to actually stop and start again, only because I'm going as though I'm right-handed using my left hand, which if you've ever tried this, it really messes with you, and nothing then is easy. And the whole thing is going to look a little worse for wear. So you can see like my arc isn't really happening because I'm so disoriented from trying to do this in the wrong direction. Typically, I'm going clockwise, and for left-handed, I would feel more comfortable going counterclockwise. So there's that. And as I said, the other thing is that I positioned my camera in the wrong way. So my focus is actually, which is why I'm drifting off to the left. Do you want to restart? I may have to, but I'm sort of like determined now to just keep going with this. And then I figure I'll do another one that I'm not drawing I'm not drawing anything. I'm just going to wing it, and that'll be fine. The thing is about this is it's actually pretty forgiving, this stitch. So it's, whatever you end up doing. And sometimes I think we learn as much from the person making a lot of mistakes as we watch, as well as our own mistakes. We can learn as much from that as if, So for those of you who do things like what I'm doing and get twisted around, well, you're not alone. So I'm going to keep going. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was I'm not worrying too much about how evenly apart these are. They're not. I'm not really, it's all I can do to sort of like, talk, keep this in the focus of the camera, doing it in the wrong way for a left-handed person, and not pulling it so that my fabric is all twisted up. So I'm going to just keep going because I'm kind of determined. Hi, Beth. It's good to see you here. So we'll see how much this pulls. Exercising the brain, exactly. Hi, Debbie. You're fine. I'm gonna do a couple of these. This one I sort of did a rough chalk pencil that I'm actually now not following, and the next one I'm not going to even bother with the chalk pencil that I don't follow. Now, normally you would follow the chalk pencil. I'm running out of thread, so I'm actually going to go down here. And so there we have that. And it's not my best. I'll come back later and maybe add a couple more. But right now I'm going to end this and I will start up a new one and I'll do it sort of free form. And then, and I'll be sure to do it in the right direction. But there's that one. Now I'm thinking I do another one maybe that starts here and fans out going in that way. And so let me get another piece of this. It looks perfect. You're being very kind to me. So often it depends on the stitch, but for right-handed people, you guys have so many different places you can go to learn how to do stitches. On YouTube, it's Mary Corbett who does, terrific videos that are really easy to follow. And I'm just praying someone else gets that because I'm not. Of course, my family. Yikes. Somebody got it, so that was good. Okay, so here I'm going to just kind of wing it. And I'm going to start here. And I'm going to do a smaller one. Did I put a knot in? Yes. I'm going to do a smaller one. And this time I'm going to go in the right direction. I'm going to start here. And so that first loop is this way, right? You just sort of do that first loop. I'm going to come back to center, and then I'm going to go out. And I'll try to keep these a little bit more even, not that it actually makes much difference, but just so you can see. And again, I'm trying to make sure that this thread doesn't pull my fabric because I don't want it to get bunched up. If you're going to stretch this piece, depending on what you're going to do, linen is really forgiving, so you can certainly get rid of a lot of puckering that way. But if it's anything more extreme than a little, then there can be problems. So this last one kind of got away from me. It got a little bit bigger. It's okay. This one's actually going to be a little bit smaller. Are you sharing the center hole every time? I am. Not completely. So do you see how it's kind of, so here's the center, and I'm just going to generally go in an arc around that as well. So close, but not totally. The first couple ones, yes, I am trying to go in or as close to that center hole because, obviously you're not going to, you want to keep it as close as you can without it starting to all just bunch and overlap on you. So close, but not in, because you're fanning out. So it's going to get pretty dense in that center part. I missed how to start the first stitch. That's okay, Lynn. I'll show you. I'll do another one. I'm going to do a couple. Nature is not perfect. Yes, that's right, Suzanne. I tell myself that. Try to make myself feel better by saying that all the time. So even my arc is a little funky. It kind of went fine and then it sort of went off on these last ones. But as you'll see, it's really not going to matter in the end. It's certainly not something that you're going to notice when I stop with this. And now I'm going to end it simply because I've got this tendril kind of, and I don't want to start messing around with that or making it, pushing it in any way, one way or the other. So I'm going to end this similar to Lazy Daisy, but don't tack it down, just move to the side. Right. If someone notices their nose is too close. Right, Suzanne. So similar to a Lazy Daisy. The first stitch is definitely like a Lazy Daisy. The next stitches are really a blanket stitch close together. I mean, that's really what we're doing. We're doing a kind of blanket stitch. So I'm going to do one more. I'll do it. Let's see, where will I do it? So let me get this a little farther away so you can see the group of them that I have here. Do you see them all? And I'm trying to do different sizes, and maybe I'll do a little one coming out here, and I might do another one here. I sort of see them just kind of scattered all over the place. That's really what I'm thinking. Now, where's the end of my thread? Well, this also can determine, So my thread is ending here. Thank you. It's a work of art. There you go. So my thread's ending here, so I'm going to do a little one starting here. And it's going to fan out. Hi, Stelita from Brazil. How lovely. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to fan this out. It's going to be small. Okay, we're going to do something really, really small. Now, this is the first one. So you saw where I brought my thread up, right? I want this fan to start, the first leg to go sort of maybe there. I'm going to go back down into my center hole that I came out, that I emerged, that first thread emerged, right? And then this is going to say, once I make this decision, this is going to tell me how long the whole thing is going to be. So I want it to be smaller. So I'm going to do about like that. I'm going to pull my thread through. Now this is where it's just like a Lazy Daisy, right? That's my first kind of Lazy Daisy. I'm going to go back into the center. And now I'm going to come out right next to that first Lazy Daisy. But instead of doing a loop, I'm catching my thread right there like I would a blanket stitch, really, right? I'm going to come back here. Now you can make these much closer together than I am. You can make them so they're totally side by side, like little soldiers. It is simple, Lynn. It's a really, really simple stitch. And it's a great way to create some texture, a little movement. And I'm going to keep doing this. And if I want, which is what I'm doing here, I'm making this little arc on the inside. Great way to fill a lot of space, Lynn. That's right. I'm making a little arc here on the inside, right? It is a nice background filler. It really is. So you don't have to go right back into the center. If you want to, it's going to create a different look. But for this one, I want it to have that kind of fan shape, and I did that intentionally. And now I'm going to probably end here because now I'm starting to go over some of my seed stitches. And I'll end right there. And so there's that. I did it in Aurora, which I showed you the example of before. And that came out really quite nicely, I thought. There it is, the Aurora. And do you see how this one, I really tried to come into the same hole over and over and over again. Very, very close. This one too. This one, I didn't care so much. I'm new to hand embroidery. Love it. Your teaching for left-handed is wonderful. Thanks. Oh, I'm so glad, Jerry. So, Jerry, this is a really nice stitch to try as a beginner. It's a nice beginner stitch. It's not very complicated. It's very similar to the blanket stitch with many people start when you learn to do embroidery. Lots of us learned with the blanket stitch, right? I mean, how many people learned with the blanket stitch? You can fill the center with drizzles, Lynn is saying. Yes, exactly. So here I didn't do my center. I made it more like a little arc, and the same with this one, and the same with this one. And it's fun to just kind of mix it up, right? Now, if I pull away from this piece, so you can get an idea of sort of, it's a big piece. It goes, the orientation is really this way. You can see that this is just one small part. And I think my sense is that I'm going to do another one here. I think I'll do another one here. I think I'll probably do a few in here, and maybe a few sort of coming out over here. These are the stripes, and this is a Palestrina knot that I did in a size 3 weight painter's thread. I like that. This one, Island, right? And it's, I think it looks nice, and I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep making my blue portions, and then how I'm going to come in with green and the other color, I'm not sure. I'll sort of see how I feel after I've done a couple of these. But the buttonhole wheel, I can keep playing with, and I can keep doing more of them. I could come with this blue color and add one in here. There's no reason why I have to do them all in this one color, you know? In fact, I think I might do that. I need something that's not as big as that. I could also come in and do one. That teal is Pantone's color of the year, 2021. The teal? Wait, which teal? You mean, I don't really see any teal. Looks like it could work for a lily pad or fan. Yes, exactly. Were you calling this the teal, or are you, is this looking teal? I don't know. This is really a kind of a island blue. Yes, the turquoise. So maybe this. Would ribbon work on this? You know, you're asking, and I don't know. Let's have a look. How about we try? We could do one in this. Let's see if I have a better color ribbon that's more like what I'm working on. I think I do. Hang on, let me look. Here, let's try this. This is my terracotta. And I also have this one, which is dried roses. I think I'll do the terracotta. This is pretty, isn't it? I don't even know what that is. You know, when I first began doing all of this stuff, I wasn't thinking about teaching or doing a YouTube channel. So I just took stuff, wound it on a bobbin, and didn't bother you know, I didn't bother making sure I knew what any of it was. So now I'm regretting all of that. Okay, so I'm going to use a 24 chenille. I have this cut on an angle. I'm going to go ahead, and for those of you who haven't worked with ribbon, this is how I was taught by a woman who's does nothing but ribbon work, and I can't remember her name, but she sells silk ribbon. Years ago, I did an online class with her, not when online classes were Zoom, but online classes where they recorded them and then you paid for them and you watched them after the fact. And, it might have even been on Craftsy. I can't remember. Anyway, I think it was. Anyway, she had really pretty silk ribbon that she sold. The thing was it wasn't a hand dye. It was I don't actually know, but it was all solid. And I love these hand dyed ribbons that change. So, all right, where are we going to go with this? Let's do a fan coming out here. And I'm going to come up. It'll be small again. I'm going to do a small one. I'm going to come up. I'm going to do my first little stitch. This is easy because I'm doing it right up abutting this one. So I do my first little, like a lazy daisy stitch, making sure that that isn't going to pucker my fabric. I'm going to go back down to where I came out. I'm going to take my next little stitch. I do have a lot of ribbons and threads and all kinds of stuff. Now, I think with the ribbon, the one thing I'm thinking just kind of out loud is, well, first of all, my camera's far away, so let me push you down a little bit. And here's what I'm thinking with the ribbon. I'm thinking because the ribbon is so broad, I'm going to come out farther than I would normally to give it a little breathing room. And so do you see how these first three are really close together? And I'm going to make these a little broader, just so that my ribbon can kind of lay nicely. But it's pretty. Deborah, I think you suggested this, right? Or asked, what about ribbon? You can use ribbon for just about any stitch. Some stitches are better than others with it, where some stitches, I think, hide the pretty qualities. I think broader is better too, Suzanne. Some stitches kind of cancel out the beauty of what the ribbon allows you to do, or the effect of the ribbon. It kind of bunches it all up, and like you can do a bullion knot with a ribbon, but you may find that you're hard-pressed to identify that it's a bullion knot. Now, I don't know what I did here, but this got a lot wider and that one got a lot skinnier. I'm not gonna worry about it. This is the other thing about this, so you do one that's really too close together. I mean, yeah, could I take it out? Sure. But why? And it's kind of messing with the arc of this too. That's too bad. It's also getting a lot longer. I may actually take this out. I don't know. I'll have to see how much it bothers me. But I do think when doing with the ribbon, so this kind of became a mess for whatever reason. Other than that, it looks okay. What happened here? I was talking away, right? Talking away. got way too close after saying that I wasn't going to make it so close. Anyway, I can kind of fudge with it, but there. I think I'll end here because I don't want it overlapping with my raised fishbone stitch. And there it is. So just ignore that part and pretend. Stitching with you, made one with fairly wide inside arch, filled it in with a smaller arch, and it looks pretty cool. Oh, good, Lynn. Okay. There, you see? I love that. So yeah, so this kind of was not what I would have hoped, but it's okay. It's okay. So now maybe I do another one starting here and coming out because I have thread, and why not? Okay. So here we go with my first little stitch. Let's see if I can do this a little more evenly, you know, this and not make it quite so all over the place. All right, so I'm going to remember to make these wide. I want to make them small. So this is going to be really small. I'm going to not bother about coming right back into the same entry point. I'll make a little arch here because that's what Lynn did, and she said it looked good. So I'm going to learn from her. And, oops, I'm off camera. Okay. You know, you can all shout, "You're off camera." And then I'm going to go back in here. Of course, by the time I saw that you had said that, I'd be, you know, we'd be minutes into this. And then I'm going to do one more, I think, here. And that'll be it. Now, you can do a whole, like a complete circle, right? Maybe we should do that. It's a wheel. Why not? I've been doing like half moons and stuff, but why not do the whole thing all the way around? And I want to make sure that I'm far enough away. Of course, I may not have thread, so we're going to either do a full circle or until my thread runs out, whichever comes first. And then I'm going to go here. And my spokes are getting a little bit longer than where I had begun. So I'm going to try to remember that and shorten them up a little bit. Because otherwise I'm going to have a problem when I meet up with the other side. And I may just make it. So here's that. And now I'm going to go in to where I started, right there. And that's going to be my end. And there's a full wheel. A little off. You would not want to have a car that was driving on that. That would be a bumpy ride. But it's pretty, isn't it? I like it. And I like it with the opening there. What do all of you think? So, ribbon, silken pearl, Aurora, 5-weight, 5-weight pearl cotton. Oh, good. I'm glad all of you like it too. And a lot of different types, but it would be fun to try it with, I think with this. And see what that looks like in a 3-weight, just to mix it up. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of working on this area, and I'm filling in with these wheels. And as I said, I'll do some more over here. I kind of like mixing it up with a full wheel. Right, it doesn't need to be perfectly, Janice. It doesn't have to be perfectly round, exactly. So I'll keep going with this, and these are little ribbon roses. And then I'll see where it takes me. That's kind of how I'm operating with this whole piece, just where am I going next? I don't know. Often I use a thread until I have no more. Obviously, I ran out of this one, I think, almost, maybe not. I have a little bit more. One of the beautiful things about the, love the cluster with brown and then the ones coming off of it. I'm so glad all of you like it. This is a Steph Francis thread, and one of the beautiful things about Steph Francis, this is the thread. Look how much I've been able to do. Oh, Fiber Talk. Is that Gary? If it is, hi. Beth, and right by your finger. Of course, now my finger moved. Are you talking about this? Hi, Gary. It's really nice to see you. So for all of you who don't know, Fiber Talk is a podcast that Gary and Beth do, and it's fabulous. So, and you have a YouTube channel, right? As well. I need to. If I haven't subscribed, I'm going to go over there and subscribe. In any case, what I was saying about Steph Francis is this. So yes, they have a YouTube channel. So go over there and show them a little love, everyone. Fiber Talk. And we're going to be doing a podcast together, right, Gary and Beth? They were very nice and reached out to me. So what I was going to say about Steph Francis is, what's lovely about this thread is, look how much I have done with their thread. I'm looking forward to it too. Lovely. And I still have all of this left. They have a lot of yardage on their skeins, which is kind of amazing. They're pretty reasonably priced. I've got a huge order coming from them. They're in the UK, so I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to me, but I will give all of you details once I have threads, because it's hard to find their thread in the United States. It would be nice if there was a way to get it. So, all right. So unless any of you shout out something else, we're going to end with this, with our little lesson here. This is a 3mm silk ribbon, by the way. And I think a whole wheel, and you can stop it. You can make it into an arc. You can do a whole wheel. Happy holidays, everyone. All right. Well, until next time, I'm going to try to do another live stream. Maybe, I don't know if I'll be able to do it this week, but certainly next week. So thanks so much for everyone for coming, and it was great to see all of you, and we will see each other again soon. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thanks, Bernice. Good to see you. Bye-bye.